What's going on, everybody? Um, I'm back with another MLB preseason preview and predictions video. And for this video, I'm going to talk about another team that I'm familiar with and that I like, and that's the Boston Red Sox. Um, Baseball season, I guess, technically is here, even though it's only spring training. But um, opening day is only about a month out. I want to say on the 26th of March. The regular season for the Boston Red Sox officially kicks off. They're on a 4-game road trip in Canada. I want to say against the Toronto Blue Jays. So we have to survive 4 games in the Sky Dome or the Rogers Center, whatever it's called now. To me, it'll always be the Sky Dome. That's neither here nor there. But how about the Toronto Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox will look come March 26th? Both of those stories remain to be seen, and we'll worry about those at a later time. Just a quick recap on last season as far as our division, the American League East. After winning 3 straight American League East titles between 2016 and 2018, which was also the last time the Red Sox won the World Series, the Boston Red Sox were in rare form by slumping to a disappointing third-place finish last year. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays claimed second place, and the New York Yankees got first. The Boston Red Sox ended up going 84-78, and also this last season was also the first time that the Red Sox didn't win their division since 2015. So, from what I've heard and read, many people are already predicting that the New York Yankees are going to win the American League East for the second year in a row. They're already an odds-on favorite. And coming in at a close second is going to be the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, and then in third place is going to be the Boston Red Sox. But while winning the division is a long shot in the eyes of most of the odds makers, making the playoffs is my opinion. It's a more realistic scenario, and as far as I'm concerned, if we can rebound from 2019 and make the postseason, then I'll be happy with that. As far as who goes where in the American League East, as far as the postseason and winning the division, we come to that bridge when we cross it. The pitching, I'm gonna go into that next. Try not to cause us to drag on as long as some of my other videos probably did, and again, I apologize in advance if those didn't come out that well. I also say the same thing for this video. We don't have a proven 5th starter with spring training underway. That's where the Red Sox sit right now. I mean, we have a huge hole in the rotation following the trade of David Price and Mookie Betts to the Brooklyn Dodgers. Not the Brooklyn Dodgers. Lost my train of thought. Los Angeles Dodgers, excuse me. And with the absence of David Price, we have a huge hole to fill. Nathan Eovaldi, newcomer Martin Perez, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Chris Sale are currently making up the starting rotation going into this year. And with no obvious candidate to fill the void, that means a lot of trouble. But then again, last year, pitching was a bit of a problem for us last year because Chris Sale was shut down for the final 2 months of the final 2.5 months or so of the season with an elbow injury. Rick Porcello never really quite got into a groove or a rhythm, whatever word you want to use. Doesn't really matter to me. Nathan Eovaldi battled through injury. David Price wasn't his normal self, and he ended up going through a wrist ailment. And the 5th starter in the rotation seemed to be a revolving door of players from AAA Pawtucket. So, any given time or times where something would happen and we would need a fifth pitcher in the bullpen, we would call up John Q, pitcher from AAA Pawtucket, and most people wouldn't unless you follow the farm system really, really closely, most players watching either in the stands and or on TV wouldn't know that person from a hole in the wall. But that being said, Eduardo Rodriguez, he was, believe it or not, he was Boston's best pitcher last year. He amassed a record of, I want to say 19-7 or 19-6. Excuse me. But with Rick Porcello now going to be a part of the New York Mets, the signing of Martin Perez back in December of 2019, I think it was a good starting point, even though it's only for 1 year. But there's still, with a plethora of injuries to Boston starters, a couple people leaving, and one guy coming in via free agency. It's still worth questioning what the 2020 starting rotation will look like, even though we're in spring training and it just started. At least for the Red Sox, I wanted to say it started about 2 or 3 days ago. But before David Price got traded, I predicted the lineup would look like this if the season were to literally and figuratively start tomorrow. I'd have Chris Sale at first pitcher. I'm sorry. I'd have Chris Sale at number 1. David Price would have, if he were still here. David Price would have been at number 2. Eduardo Rodriguez at number 3. Nathan Eovaldi at number 4, and Martin Perez at number 5. But the only thing that's really different is Perez sliding into the 5th starter's role. So if Nathan Eovaldi and Chris Sale can bounce back, Eduardo Rodriguez carries over a solid performance from last year into this year, and Martin Perez proves to be a reliable number 5. That will most certainly be a good lineup to be dealing with right now for the Red Sox, but we still need to find someone to replace David Price. But a lot can still happen between now and opening day. But now that Rick Porcello and David Price are both gone, as I said before, the Red Sox are in a real interesting situation. It's going to be interesting to see who takes the number 2 spot of David Price if he were still here. What is overall the overall rotation for all 5 people? I mean, starting pitching or lack thereof really ate us up last year. We went from being a World Series winner in 2018 to completely bottoming out at 2019. And although David Price never fit in as snugly and as neat as what most Boston Red Sox fans would have liked, like myself, consider that David Price's 4.29 ERA was the second lowest of any Boston starter last year. Brooding underachievers don't play well in Beantown. Apparently is what I heard someone say. I want to say it was an article. There was an article on the internet that someone posted a comment somewhere along those lines, and maybe it's it sounds a little harsh, but on the other hand, you can't bust someone for telling the truth, but on the other hand, you also can't bust someone for giving their honest opinion on a situation. And I think this is what it is. But as far as the Boston Red Sox, though, this might sound like a crazy option, but they could always opt to use an opener every 5th day, and that's something that Chief Baseball Officer Chaim Bloom is very familiar with, given his time from the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. Or if nothing else, why not just fill the void with an internal candidate? Promote from within, in other words. At least that's how I like to think of it. Or you could also look outside the organization for depth via either free agency or the trade deadline. I mean, seeing as the Boston Red Sox have additional financial flexibility in the wake of the trade that sent Mookie Betts and David Price to Los Angeles, that helped achieve their off-season goal of getting underneath the luxury tax threshold of, I want to say, $209 million. But on the other hand, the Boston Red Sox will are likely looking to maintain some wiggle room for potential in-season moves. And the last I read somewhere, I want to say the club's payroll currently sits at about $194 million. So that's enough for Chaim Bloom to explore low-cost options and which ones are available, if any. Now to go to the predictions as soon as I find them. Where was I? Here we go. Here we are. I'm going to go into my predictions for this year, but this is going to be a little tough because one of them happens to be a three-way tie, we'll call it, as far as free agency. So free agency and pitching is going to fall into my first prediction, but it's going to be like 1A, 1B, and 1C. So prediction number 1, 3 names to possibly bring to the Boston Red Sox, if it were to happen, hypothetically. 1A, I'll call it. Clay Buchholz. Now, I know he's 35. He's going to be 36 sometime in the summer. I want to say in August, if I'm not mistaken. He went 7-2 with a 2.01 ERA and 16 starts for the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2018. And he couldn't carry that momentum into 2019 as he struggled to the tune of a 2-5 record with a 6.56 ERA and 12 starts with the Toronto Blue Jays. So the ultimate question is, does he have anything left in the tank? I think he doesn't. If he were to come back with the Boston Red Sox, I think it would be more so just because of the name, the familiarity, and having 2 World Series under his belt, and having just the overall name. If he were to come back, I wouldn't mind it, but if he doesn't, then maybe he signs somewhere else or he just sits the year out. 1B, Andrew Cashner. 33, and he's 33 years old, and he made 25 appearances and 6 starts with the Boston Red Sox last year following a mid-season trade from the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, the results last year weren't pretty, but he had a 6.21 ERA across 53 and 2/3 innings. But on the other hand, he's had success at various points in his career. He had a 17-start stretch with the Baltimore Orioles at the beginning of last year, in which he had a 1.19 WHIP, a 4.26 FIP. I forgot what that stat means, and he had a 9-3 record with a 3.83 ERA. So odds are slim in him coming back. So it's worth a shot. 1C, I'm gonna go with Matt the Dark Knight Harvey. Now I know many New York Mets fans, if any of you are watching, you're probably not going to like this prediction. I understand, but we're about 5 years removed from the height of the quote-unquote Dark Knight time in Queens, and the most recent results have been ugly. I mean, Matt Harvey sputtered to a 7.08 ERA in 12 starts with the Los Angeles Angels last year, and this would have been nothing more than a last-ditch effort to extract some big league value from a former Cy Young candidate. Some people are saying just do without him and don't sign him at all. But one can only speculate. Prediction number 2, win total, over or under of 84.5. I had to think long and hard about this one. But if the Boston Red Sox finish around the 84 win mark, or 85 mark or more, that would be, at least to me, that would be an improvement on 84 and 78. But if the Red Sox can win 85 or more games, history says that likely still wouldn't be enough to get them into the postseason. If they can go 85 and 77 or 86 and 76, that would be nice. But There was a stat that I read that said only 2 American League teams over the last 5 years have have reached the playoffs with win totals of either 86 or 85, and it was the 2017 Minnesota Twins. They went 85 and 77, and the Houston Astros of 2015 they went 86 and 76. As much as I would like to see them improve on last year's record, one side of me tells me play safe and take the under, but on the other side, I'm tempted to go with it and take the over. So I predict the Boston Red Sox win 85 or more. If they can go 85 and 76, it's much better than 84 and 78. That's just me, though. Maybe because I'm an optimist. But anyway. We never know until after the season actually starts when we reach that part of the season. Prediction number 3. Chris Sale has a bounce-back year. I mean, he had a lack of preparation in spring training last year, and it led to a rocky start that he never really found his groove, and he ended up having the worst season of his career, and he had his season cut short last year via the elbow injury that he sustained and cut his season short by about 2.5 months. But I think he's looking for a rebound this year. If he's able to put 2019 behind him and go out there and put on a real show in 2020, then he'll be in good standings. It's fair to say that last year was a down year, but on the other hand, he's also earned the benefit of the doubt given his track record, and he'll need to prove that he's still got plenty in the tank in 2020, and I believe he'll prove the doubters wrong. The Boston Red Sox will be counting on him to bounce back, and given what we've seen from him at his peak, it's not hard to envision that this will happen. Not even close. Prediction number 4, as soon as I find it. Oh, yeah, there we are. The Boston Red Sox offense stays dominant, even without Mookie Betts in the lineup anymore. Mookie Betts has been one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball for quite some time now, and his impact has obviously been a profound factor in the team's success. It's a tough pill to swallow, and that he's going to the Los Angeles Dodgers, and while it stinks that he's gone, we still have plenty of other threatening bats in the order that we can use. So, I mean, while we may have some flaws in 2020, I still predict the offense won't be one of them. I mean, Rafael Devers and Xander Bogaerts, for example, are coming off career years at the plate, and JD Martinez bats 300 in his sleep, for crying out loud at this point. So, we lose one person, and it's not going to be the end of the world. Prediction number 5. Andrew Benintendi has a breakout year. I predicted Chris Sale has a bounce back year. I predict this time Andrew Benintendi has a breakout year, and for good reason. He had an exciting rookie year in 2017. 2018 he had a solid yet unspectacular year, and also a World Series trophy, but last year his play took quite a dive, and he put up career lows in almost every category, and I think this year he's going to improve on his game. He's going to put that behind him, and he has some additional motivation going into 2020. He should have even more motivation and initiative to improve on last year, especially since he's going to have to pick up some of the slack that was left behind via the departure of Mookie Betts. Not only does the team have high expectations for him going into this year, but the fans most certainly do, and so do I. I mean, this might sound kind of harsh, but on the other hand, I think it's also safe to say that it's fair. At this point in Andrew Benintendi's career, he's simply an above-average guy in the lineup. I mean, he can play solid defense in left field, but he doesn't necessarily strike fear into the hearts of the team that's facing off against him either. So, Given some of the high expectations that Benintendi has in store going into the season, along with the rest of the team, I think he'll do just fine this year. Prediction number 6. Dustin Pedroia plays. I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, Dustin Pedroia isn't technically considered retired, but knee problems continue to plague him, and from what I've been hearing, if his knee issues continue to be a problem, his career is pretty much over. He looks to be another victim of what they like to nickname the Jim Rice effect. I mean, Jim Rice was a Hall of Fame player, and he was a .300 batter until the final month of his career. I want to say he was plagued with knee injuries, but Dustin Pedroia, on the other hand, he still owned a lifetime .300 batting average until grounding out in his penultimate game, and if this is in fact the end of his career, which I don't think it will be, he'll finish at with a batting average of .299. 2 hits shy of 300. But if anything, actually, I think Dustin Pedroia plays another year or two. He plays beyond 2020. But I'm just sticking for right now, sticking for this season. We'll see what happens. You know, will Dustin Pedroia play? Will he put up some numbers in spring training if he hasn't already, or will he just sit out the whole spring training and get ready for opening day? He'll just use this time to rest, rehab, and recover. I don't know. And finally, number 7, Xander Bogaerts takes a leadership role in one way or another. In my opinion, the person or people who answer questions in a losing clubhouse or amidst a controversy might not sound like an important job. But if nobody steps up, it can create a lot of tension. And at one point in time, the only other person I could really think of who stepped into that quote-unquote leadership role was Big Papi, David Ortiz. He retired in 2016, and since then, I think you can name Xander Bogaerts as the new quote-unquote leader of the Boston Red Sox. Into the fold comes Xander Bogaerts, who basically emerged as a team spokesman. And I remember this quotation that he said when he signed a 6-year, $120 million contract. He said, quote, "The Boston Red Sox made a commitment to me, and I'm not a young player anymore. I'm a veteran now." And he's right. You look at yourself as the leader of the team. You have to take on the leadership. You have to take on the duties of being a leader, accept responsibility, and rally the troops when the chips are down. And I think Xander Bogaerts' leadership is going to show this year. In what facet or facets remains to be seen. But if I were to give anybody the team spokesman / leadership role, if it were up to me and I were to peg anybody on the team for that spot, I would name Xander Bogaerts in that position. I really would. So overall, guys, there's it's a mixed bag. Unanswered questions. A lot of things still remain to be seen for the Boston Red Sox. Let me know what you guys think. I want to hear your predictions. Over or under the 84.5 win total that I had the Boston Red Sox predicted at. What do you think their record is going to be? What big name pitchers do we sign in free agency? What do you think as far as Chris Sale in a bounce back year? Is there somebody on? Is there somebody else that I forgot to make mention of somewhere along the line? Let me know what you think. That being said, let me know what you guys think. Keep an eye out for my next video. I'm going to do a Houston Astros video within the next day or two. And that pretty much sums it up for me, guys. If you haven't already, please subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, and whatever other forms of social media that you can follow me on. They're on my main page where you see all the links. You know, I think where it says Google Plus and Google Plus, Twitch, Snapchat, Instagram, the whole nine. Follow me on there also. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys when I see you and talk to you when I talk to you. Other than that, that's really about it for me. Keep an eye out on my Houston Astros video, preseason preview and predictions. It'll be volume 4, I want to say. Yeah, volume 4. And I hope to hear your comments and your commentary, comments, and whatever all else you may have to throw in the video. So let me know what you think. Talk to you guys later. Have a good night.